Welcome to Conquer Daily. I'm Rachel Lewison, your host and the author of Conquering Me. And this is our second segment of our third episode. So remember I told you in the third episode that Conquer was so good, we needed to break it up into 2 segments. Well, this is our segment with our next set of lovely ladies, and they're going to share with us what God has showed them and taken them through during their Conquer journal. So in the first segment, ladies, I did an icebreaker, and I asked those ladies if they were a shoe, to describe what kind of shoe would you be and why?
I'm gonna say my lovely Birkenstock, because it's very comfortable. I can wear it wherever, and just be comfortable.
I would say that I am probably a pair of Doc Martens. I feel like they are very diverse. They're very comfortable. They're very sturdy too, and I like that. I feel like they last long. You know,
They do.
yeah.
I would guess I would be Uggs because they're comfortable. They keep you warm in the cold weather. You know, and like the other shoes, I think they're diverse too. You know, because you can wear them just about any time.
And it's so interesting that you guys picked the shoe that you picked, because that, ideally, whether you know it or not, is how we desire to go throughout life, right? Comfortable, warm, diverse, longevity, right? These are the things that we desire. But unfortunately, that's not how life is always set up, right? Especially in this session called Conquering, right? When we are designed to have dominion and to conquer, we're going to have to sometimes not be comfortable. We're going to have to sometimes go against the very nature of wanting to appease our flesh and break into the zone into which God has really called us in. So one of the things that we discussed was the definition of what conquered. I'm going to ask you guys, ladies, the same thing. When you think of conquering, what is the thought that comes to your mind?
I would say overcoming any type of situation, but not only overcoming it, like being able to manage if something like that situation were to be present.
I would say the same thing, overcoming, and not only overcoming, but also controlling. You know, controlling the situation as well. You know.
So I will be amiss not to point this out. The name of our book is called Conquering Me, right? So I want to ask an advancing question.
Okay.
What does conquering you look like?
I would say self-control. Learning how to just take control through submitting to Christ. Situations that I would not otherwise be able to handle or conquer. So for me, it would be self-control, discipline.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, because sometimes you get into a situation where instead of falling back and not being reactive, you react because you're looking at the surface of what may have happened and not understanding what, you know, in the case of 2 people, what may have caused the other person to act that way, and as you may perceive it as attacking you, when in reality the issue is not yours, it's theirs.
Right.
So in that case, you would need to have self-control and perspective, you know. So that's, to me, that's what that means.
Yeah. It's funny that you both say self-control, because for me, I would say, like as Paul said, and this is one of my favorite scriptures, he says in 2 Corinthians, how he boasts of his weakness, right? And I would say for me is acknowledging and boasting of my weakness, because when I am weak, then Christ is strong. And so many times it's in our nature to want to be strong, especially as women, right?
Right.
We're naturers, we want to make up the difference, right? Especially for our kids, or whether it be in your marriage, we kind of learn to make up the difference, or we tell ourselves, no, we can do this. No, I got this. No, I'm strong. nah, like, you know, I'm a strong black woman, you know? And we kind of live by that, but all around on the inside, we're crying, we're dying, you know, we're reaching out. I know for me, that was me, you know? On the outside, I said, you know, I'm strong. And I remember a situation that I had with my son. Me and my son was conversing, and he said something that kind of triggered me. And I'm doing the laundry, and my knees almost buckled. And I told myself, wipe this off. Like, you're strong. Like, you can do this. Like, wipe this off. And God spoke to me. He says, a strong person knows where the strength is. And in that moment, I had this realization, I'm not really strong if I'm thinking that I'm strong, if that makes sense. You know, like, if I'm mistakenly saying, no, I'm strong in this area, but really I'm dying in this area, I'm not really strong. Matter of fact, I'm weak, and I'm more so lying to myself.
Right.
But God was saying, no, true strength is understanding where the strength is, where your limits are. And I think true humility and true perspective and understanding, all right, I know this is where I need to really hand it over to God. Like, it never really was mine. We talked about in the last segment, he says, take heart, I've overcome the world. Like, you will have troubles. Take heart. But knowing and having that awareness that, no, God has overcame this. And the young lady said in the last episode, she said, I always took that. And I said, yeah, God overcame it. Not me.
Right.
God overcame it. But you got to kind of step into that awareness and say, no, I am a new creature in Christ. So if the same authority raised Jesus Christ from the dead, I got to understand, he said that lives in me. So I have to walk in that confidence. I have to walk in the dominion that God has given me and truly conquer. What else have you guys also experienced in this journey?
To piggyback off what you were saying about knowing where your strength lies, God never asked us to do it alone. And so you think about knowing where your strength stops. It's just knowing that from the beginning, I don't have to carry this by myself.
Right.
And that's one thing that I've learned in this journey is that God never asks or requires me to go through this alone. Through every day, every step, he desires for me to be completely dependent upon him. And that's okay. And in fact, I've learned that that's the best way to be. So if it's one thing that I'm learning, is the best way to conquer is to understand that every day I go through it with God. I don't have to walk alone. I don't have to go so far and say, okay, God, I've gone as far as I can go. Now you take over. But every day I start with God. All right, God, you got this.
Right.
God is on you.
I think also God will also send a community of people, right, that is like-minded or have gone through the same situation as you, to form community. Because, you know, yes, we can't do it alone. We rely on God, but then he also gives us, you know, a community of where we can share our testimonies, like we overcome by our testimonies, right? And so, yeah, community of people.
Like we are today, right? We're a community of people, and my prayer is that we can be that resource for those who are watching to say, you know what? I can relate to her in the beautiful red dress. I can relate to her in those Marc Jacobs sneakers. Like, I can relate to her because I too like Doc Martens. I got them on right now. And that's what God does. Like, he doesn't leave us hanging. He doesn't leave us like suffering in silence. Like, he wants us to come to him and to recognize that he is our source. He is our strength, right? And with him, that we know that we are more than conquerors, right? So in our closing, I want to share with you these words that God has imprinted on me, which is actually on the cover of the book Conquering Me. It says, if God has given you the power to carry it, he has given you the strength to conquer it. And I want to leave that with you, whatever it is that you're carrying. And I know for me, for a while, and I don't want to like keep going because we can go and dive into this book even more, because there was a moment where I was like playing and wearing, and I said in the first episode, so many titles, and I had so many assignments, and I didn't know how to carry it because I didn't know where my strength was. And so in turn, I was suppressing a lot of the weight that I would take on. And I should have been giving it to God, but I would take on it, and then I would just bury it, suppress it, put it under the rug, keep moving, just getting through it, not overcoming it, just getting through it. Like, all right, yesterday happened, it's today, let's just do this. And I was cheating myself of a life that that God designed for me to thrive, you know? And it took that moment, it took that low point where I had to say, all right, God, although the weight is heavy, I know that you did not design for me to carry this. I know that you designed for me to conquer it. You have given me that power through you, through Jesus Christ. And that's what Paul is saying even in Romans 7:24. He says, I thank God that through Jesus Christ, he is the way. He's the ultimate way. There's no other way. And I want to encourage you, wherever you are, wherever you find yourself watching this, you may have just decided to scroll and we came up hopefully, but it's not by chance. And if you're in a place where you feel like you just can't do it and the weight is just too much, I want to encourage you to turn to the ultimate conqueror, Jesus Christ. Thank you for tuning in to our second segment of our third episode. I pray that you have enjoyed yourself and that with God, you will continue your conquering journey. God bless you. Wait a minute. I almost forgot. In all this excitement and all this good information shared, I forgot to plug the book, ladies. Listen, you have to get this book. It's going to be available on Amazon. You can also purchase it on my website, www.rachellewison.com. You're going to prepare to be sick of me, okay? Because I'm going to be posting and sharing all this great content that God has shared here. So much good information. And I can't wait for you to get your hands on it and you to start your own conquering journey. Thank you again. I love you all. I wish you the best. God bless you.